Imagine being told your masterpiece is a disaster. These songs weren't just criticized, they were banned, mocked, and written off as sellouts. Yet today, they're rock's most immortal anthems. How did hated songs become untouchable classics? Let's find out. Number 10. Paranoid, Black Sabbath, 1970. Black Sabbath had already finished their second album when their producer realized it was running short. They needed one more song, something fast. Paranoid was written almost as a throwaway. The core idea came together in minutes, a blunt, churning riff from Tony Iommi, and lyrics Geezer Butler drafted on the spot, with the band quickly locking it in. It wasn't meant to be the centerpiece, it was meant to be fill space. And critics hated it. Early reviews dismissed Sabbath as crude and unsophisticated, noisy, simple, and miles away from the era's more serious rock. To a lot of gatekeepers, this wasn't music that showed skill, it was brute force. That was exactly why it worked. What critics called simple, younger listeners heard as pure nervous energy. Paranoid proved heaviness didn't need to sprawl or show off. It could be tight, frantic, and suffocating. Once it hit, there was no going back. Number 9. Starman, David Bowie, 1972. Before Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie had flashes of success, but nothing that stuck. He'd already reinvented himself more than once, and by the early 70s, time was running short. Then came Ziggy. When Bowie appeared on Top of the Pops in July 1972 to perform Starman, the reaction split instantly. Kids leaned in, a lot of adults recoiled. Dressed in a brightly colored jumpsuit, vivid red hair blazing under the lights, Bowie crossed a line British television rarely touched. As he sang, "I had to phone someone, so I picked on you," he draped his arm around guitarist Mick Ronson, then pointed straight into the camera.
I had to phone someone, so I picked on you. Hey.
It wasn't subtle, it wasn't accidental, it felt personal. Some critics dismissed the space alien persona as theater, style over substance. For parts of the mainstream, the sci-fi imagery felt strange, even unsettling. But for kids watching from gray living rooms, it landed like a signal flare. Starman didn't just sell a song, it offered permission. It bridged folk pop and the theatrical future, turning identity itself into part of rock and roll. When that chorus hits now, it doesn't sound like a gimmick. It sounds like a door opening. Number 8. I Was Made for Loving You, Kiss, 1979. By 1979, anti-disco backlash was already boiling over. Rock fans were turning hard against the genre, convinced it was polluting everything it touched. So when Kiss released a song built on a pulsing four-on-the-floor beat and a glossy pop-leaning vocal, the response was nuclear. Die-hard fans felt betrayed, accusing the band of chasing a fad and abandoning their identity. The studio reality only fueled the outrage. Peter Criss appeared as Kiss's drummer, but he didn't play on the track. Producer Vinnie Poncha brought in a session drummer, Anton Fig, instead. A quiet signal that the band was willing to break its own rules. Inside Kiss, the divide was real. This wasn't a group compromise. It was largely Paul Stanley's vision. He didn't try to dodge disco. He tried to beat it at its own game, even handling both guitar and bass himself. Gene Simmons famously hated the song. Critics called it desperate. Purists called it unforgivable. The audience didn't care. I Was Made for Loving You became a worldwide smash and a gold-selling single in 1979. proof that the songs accused of selling out are often the ones that never go away. Number 7. Owner of a Lonely Heart. Yes, 1983. Imagine you're a prog fan. You live for 20-minute epics and strange time signatures. Then, Yes officially breaks up, only to be rebuilt almost from scratch for a new decade. Produced by Trevor Horn, Owner of a Lonely Heart was tight, aggressive, and ruthlessly modern. The rhythm was mechanical, the hooks were compact, and those sharp sampled stabs, a mix of brass-like hits and orchestral chords, triggered through the Fairlight CMI, sliced through the mix like warning signals. For longtime fans, it was whiplash. The backlash was immediate. Prog loyalists accused the band of going corporate, of chasing MTV instead of complexity. To them, this wasn't evolution, it was surrender. But look closer. What Yes actually did was condense their skill set. The virtuosity didn't disappear, it was focused. Trevor Rabin's jagged riff and Horn's precision production were built for impact, not excess. The gamble paid off. Owner of a Lonely Heart became Yes's only #1 hit in the US, and a defining sound of the early 80s. Proof that reinvention doesn't mean losing control. Number 6. Layla, Derek and the Dominoes, 1970.
What do you do when you get lonely? Who's waiting by your...
You'd think a song tied to Eric Clapton would be an instant hit, but Layla wasn't. When it was first released, the song underperformed. Radio struggled with its length and its fractured structure. The first half was a snarling, high-energy blues rock outburst. The second drifted into a long, gentle piano coda that felt completely at odds with what came before. Some listeners were confused, others were put off. Early reactions often described the song as excessive or unbalanced, far removed from the cleaner blues Clapton was known for. His vocals sounded raw and strained, not polished, not controlled. And because the album didn't even have his name on the front cover, many people didn't immediately realize this was his project at all. That messiness was actually pure, unadulterated honesty. Layla was a desperate confession, written in the grip of forbidden love for Pattie Boyd, who at the time was married to Clapton's close friend, George Harrison. The tension was magnified by the intertwined guitars of Clapton and Duane Allman, creating a layered, pleading sound that rock radio wasn't ready for. Once the world caught up, Layla was finally understood, not as a mistake, but as one of the most intense emotional confessions ever carved into electric guitar. Number 5. Jump, Van Halen, 1984. By the early 80s, Eddie Van Halen was untouchable. He had the brown sound, he had the tapping technique, he had the fastest fingers in the West. He had rewritten the rulebook for rock guitar. No one was asking Van Halen to change. So when Eddie told the band he wanted the lead single of their next album to be built not on a guitar riff, but on a massive, brassy synthesizer chord progression, the internal friction was immense. The idea had been floating around for a couple of years, and not everyone was on board. Parts of the band, and even producer Ted Templeman, had doubts about leading with a keyboard-driven song. David Lee Roth openly worried it would make the band look soft or pop. To some hard rock fans, it already had. Eddie didn't care. He understood something deeper than gear or image. A great melody is a great melody, regardless of the instrument. When Jump finally hit in late 1983 and carried into 1984, the argument was over. It became Van Halen's only #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. The song's soaring optimism and iconic synth hook became the soundtrack to an entire decade of sports highlights and high school graduations. Number 4. Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen, 1984. This is one of the greatest misunderstandings in music history. The backlash didn't come because the song was bad. It came because of how it was used. With its booming drums and triumphant chorus, it was quickly misread and co-opted by politicians, including Ronald Reagan's 1984 re-election orbit, as a patriotic anthem. But Springsteen wasn't writing a flag waver, he was writing a gut punch, a Vietnam veteran coming home to a country that had no place for him. The verses tell the real story: a dead brother, caisson, unemployment, and silence where help was supposed to be. When Springsteen pushed back and made the meaning unmistakable, he ran straight into a dual backlash. Conservatives felt tricked. Liberals watched the critique get swallowed by the chorus. Born in the USA is the ultimate Trojan horse. It's a protest song hidden inside a stadium rocker. Its immortality lies in its tension, the way you can pump your fist while the verses twist the knife. It's a reminder that patriotism isn't just waving a flag. It's demanding better for the people asked to carry it. Number 3. I Can't Get No Satisfaction, The Rolling Stones, 1965. In 1965, this song was considered noise. Keith Richards famously recorded the riff on a portable cassette recorder, fell asleep, and woke up to about 30 seconds of the idea, followed by more than 40 minutes of him snoring. He never meant the sound to be final. The distorted guitar was a musical notepad, a stand-in for a horn section he assumed would replace it later. Instead, the fuzz stayed. When it hit the airwaves, that buzzsaw distortion, created with a Gibson Maestro FZ1 fuzz tone, was treated as unmusical garbage by older critics who thought guitars weren't supposed to sound like that. The lyrics only added fuel. Lines dripping with sexual frustration and consumer disgust made the song controversial, with some radio stations hesitating or pushing back over what it implied. To many adults, it sounded dangerous, not just loud, but defiant. Later that year, when Otis Redding covered the song with a full horn arrangement, it only highlighted what made the Stones version hit harder.
I can't get no satisfaction.
The fuzz riff had an aggression the proper version couldn't tame. Satisfaction didn't just become a hit, it reset the sound of rock and roll, proving distortion, attitude, and social tension could carry a song as far as melody ever had. Number 2. God Save the Queen, Sex Pistols, 1977. This wasn't just backlash, it was a national emergency. Released during Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee, the Sex Pistols' tribute to the monarchy was treated like an act of treason. Within days, the BBC banned it from airplay. The Independent Broadcasting Authority restricted it. Major retailers like Woolworths refused to stock it. And it turned violent. Band members were attacked in the street by self-appointed patriots. Johnny Rotten was slashed with razor blades outside a pub. Drummer Cook was beaten with iron bars. This wasn't moral outrage, it was physical retaliation. Then came the chart war. Officially, the single stalled at number 2, blocked by a Rod Stewart ballad. But in some shops, including W.H. Smith, the chart position where the Pistols should have appeared was left as a blacked-out blank line rather than printing the band's name. The message was unmistakable. This song would not be acknowledged. Days later, the band played God Save the Queen on a boat sailing past Parliament. It ended in chaos and arrests. The moment controversy became confrontation. You can't kill an idea by banning it. By trying, The establishment turned the Sex Pistols into symbols. God Save the Queen became punk's defining statement. We've reached the summit. There's only one song left. A song so long, so weird, and so expensive that the record label told the band it would end their careers on the spot. Number 1, Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, 1975.
Bismillah, no, we will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah.
In 1975, the rules of radio were simple. 3 minutes long, must have a chorus, must be easy to hum. Freddie Mercury ignored all of them. He brought the executives at EMI a nearly 6-minute operatic suite that shifted from a ballad to a multi-layered choir to a hard rock headbanger. The label's reaction? You're joking! People around the release said it was too long, too weird, and that it would never survive radio. Critics were just as confused, calling it pretentious and overly theatrical. One famously dismissed it as lacking any real soul. Freddie knew exactly what he was doing. The choir wasn't a choir at all. It was the band, overdubbed again and again. Vocals stacked so many times that engineers later said the tape itself was pushed to the absolute edge of what analog recording could handle. Then came the stunt. Freddie handed a copy to his friend, DJ Kenny Everett, with the classic warning, "Do not play it." Everett did exactly what Freddie expected. He played it over and over that weekend, and the public went wild. Bohemian Rhapsody shattered every boundary. It's a ballad, an opera, and a heavy metal masterpiece all at once. Today, it's the most streamed song of the 20th century. It isn't just a song, it's a journey. These 10 songs prove that the experts aren't always right. Sometimes the very thing that makes a song controversial is exactly what makes it immortal. Which of these songs is your favorite? Or did we miss one that you think belongs on the list? Let us know in the comments.